Hi everyone, so this video is going to be another kind of body related video, and as you will see by the title, this has a little bit to do with celebrities and their bodies. So I know a lot of people are really interested in how celebrities lose weight, how celebrities maintain their weight, what they do to stay in shape, what they eat and all that kind of thing, and I'm no exception. If I'm on the computer and I start looking it up, I can then just end up being sat there for hours looking at different kind of websites of what celebrities do and celebrity bodies, and kind of looking at their bodies and kind of saying, you know, like, oh, that looks really nice, or maybe, oh, that doesn't, and what could I do to kind of look like that, how would I make my figure be like that, and that kind of thing. And it seems harmless at first, but is it actually that harmless? Because I feel like we are really obsessed with celebrities in general. We want to know everything about them, the kind of whole reality TV, Big Brother type of thing. And I think that kind of can cause a little bit of confusion, because what ends up happening is you end up wanting to mimic everything that celebrities do, and whenever a celebrity is doing some sort of diet, it becomes really trendy, and then you'll see loads of people doing it. It's like how Beyonce lost 2 stone in like a month or whatever it was, doing the master cleanse, and then suddenly the master cleanse was really popular. And I feel like there was a time where celebrity body image was much worse than it is now, because back in, I want to say it was like 2005, but I might be completely wrong, I don't remember. I can remember that the kind of celebrity bodies that were photographed the most were people like Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie, who were incredibly skinny. Now, I'm not sure if they were like that naturally, and it's not a case of kind of me slating skinny women, because that's not what I think at all, but they were kind of the it girls and the it body at the time. It was that very fashionable kind of thing to be that size, and the size 0 trend kicked in, and for a little while there it was everywhere. And I feel definitely like now the situation's much better, and young girls have got much better role models in terms of bodies to look up to. And there was kind of quite a big backlash at the whole size 0 thing, because people realised that it was very unobtainable, and that it wasn't necessarily healthy if you weren't like that naturally, and that these girls were basically starving themselves to look a certain way, and that it was setting a bad example to young girls. So I feel like now we have celebrities of all different shapes and sizes, and I know that a lot of celebrities, for example like Kelly Brook and Kim Kardashian and Christina Hendricks and Jennifer Lawrence, for example, they're all celebrities that are on the kind of chunkier side of Celebrityville. And I know that obviously they're not chunky at all, they're perfectly amazing, gorgeous figures. But in terms of celebrities, they're a little bit chunkier, and I find it really refreshing and really nice to see that, to see these kind of bodies that are a little bit more normal in a way. Obviously, I've mentioned in a video before that women like Kelly Brook and Kim Kardashian and that kind of thing have got incredible bodies and are really well proportioned, and that kind of does make you look at them and think, you know, it isn't a real body still. Obviously, I know that it's a real body because they're real people, but you know what I mean. And I feel like it's kind of gotten to a point now where the images that you get are a little bit better, because it's harder to aspire to look like people like that, because then you've got to kind of consider all sorts of things like, you know, getting a boob job and all types of things like that, which are much more extreme, and that people know that are definitely a kind of more difficult thing to be doing. And whereas a couple of years ago those were the examples that we had, now the examples are a little bit better, and I think actresses like Jennifer Lawrence, for example, just give a really good incentive, because they look healthy, they're still slim and they probably still take care of themselves, but they look healthy and they're not too worried about it. And that, I think, sets a much better example than the women who, you know, are starving themselves to look a certain way. And I know that it must be incredibly hard if you're an actress, because you're judged on how you look, and you have to look a certain way, and the world has decided that this is how you should look, and you have to conform to that. And obviously there are people who don't, but that's kind of a different matter. But the examples that we've got now are all kind of bodies that are just a little bit more relatable, I think, and I'm not sure if it's just me, but I always feel like I can sort of relate to those types of people more, and we are obsessed with kind of celebrity bodies because it's so readily available, the information. You can't open a magazine or go online without kind of seeing something about it somewhere. You can't shut yourself off from it completely. But it is very important to realise that, you know, these people are getting paid to look that way, and if I was getting paid like $1 million to look like $1 million, then I would put my all into it. I would put everything into it, and I wouldn't have other things to do, you know. You wouldn't have kind of everyday life getting in the way and everyday stress getting in the way, and that really affects it as well. So I just kind of think that it's very, very important when it comes to celebrity bodies to not get wrapped up in the celebrity body hype and think that you're going to do something and going to have a celebrity body, because if you saw these people in real life, I bet their bodies didn't look as great as they look in the pictures, because they're photoshopped, which is probably a topic for another video really, the Photoshop thing, because I feel quite strongly about that, and not in the way that you'd probably guess. But I just wanted to kind of put it out there as well, and let people know that the examples that you see aren't necessarily examples that you need to follow, and all these women that you think kind of have perfect bodies, nobody has the perfect body, and you shouldn't really aspire to be anything other than the best version of you. And if you want to eat healthily and work out and do all these things to kind of be the best version of you, then that's great. But trying to aspire to be like a certain celebrity, I think, is just a path that's going to lead you down a very miserable road. So yeah, that's kind of my take on that. If you've got any kind of recommendations for more sort of body talk videos, then definitely put those in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye.